So first of all, the jumps action, 5 from Cheltenham and then 3 from Doncaster. And yes, I know there are some ITV races from Newbury, but we're just leaving those alone. We're doing one meeting on the over jumps, one on the flats as well. A great team amassed for you. We've got Adele Mulrennan. How are you, Adele? All good?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Are you more excited about Donny or Cheltenham this week?
I'm excited the jumps are back. I'm glad we've still got a bit more flat racing though to get stuck into. And I can't believe Wetherby starts next weekend. I just don't know where the time's gone.
Charlie Hall. It's crazy. Deasy, you're more looking forward to the jumps, right? I don't even need to ask.
I've been looking forward to the jumps since it started getting dark at 7 o'clock a few weeks ago. It's brilliant. Can't wait.
Dark about 6 now. Nats Green is back as well. Which side of the fence are you, or are you just embracing it all, Nats?
Yeah, well, jumps really. This for me, it started at Chepstow. I thought that was a really good card, actually. But I think for so many people, Cheltenham, the HQ are jumps for them, and I think it just really gets you into, like you say, it's going dark. I lit the fire for the first time. Time to get on the Whiskey Max, and it's just that it just feels like that time of year. My own horse is being very, very naughty at home, so it surely is October because he always gets frisky towards the winter. So, yeah, jumping's back and looking forward to it.
Is that a thing? Do horses change seasonally? And
Mine does. Mine does.
Right. He's a naughty winter horse.
Very naughty. He's in the black books.
I was looking forward to Cheltenham, and then I looked at the card and thought, "Whoa, that's difficult." So. Yeah, there's the white flag out already. Right, we've got a new sign-up offer for you to tell you about first of all. It is a money back as cash if your first bet loses offer. So it's a £15 welcome offer. It's for new customers only, of course, and you get that money back as cash if your first bet loses. All the T's and C's are on the site. You must use the bonus code INSIGHTSRF. INSIGHTSRF for that. Insights Romeo Foxtrot to confirm those letters. Very, very pleased with that. So do that. And it's for new customers only, 18 plus, be gamble aware. £15 welcome offer, money back as cash if your first bet loses. If you are listening to us on the podcast, give us a review on your preferred podcast app. You can subscribe as well. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hello, and give us a thumbs up on the video, and of course subscribe as well. It makes it easier to watch each and every time we do a pod, and that is for all the pods across all sports as well. And don't forget to, if you're listening to this post recording, you can go to insights.matchbook.com and all of the selections from the panel will be up there for you, a recap of all the bets, including best bets as well. Right. Cheltenham we go, first of all, with the 145. So we've got 16 lining up here. So it's a nice big field for you to get stuck into. Samarive is right at the top of the betting. He looked a really nice horse when he won at Kempton on debut. And Paul Nicholls was very complimentary about him on that occasion after the race. Is 3.5. Samba Dancer is 8.0. Byzantine Empire is 12.0. Ingleby Hollow is 13.0, as is Sarasota Star. And Small Bad Bob, we've had a big Bad Bob, that's a Small Bad Bob. Timberman, the same price as well. And then we do get stuck into the bigger figures beyond that. So, Adele, first of all, I know you like the horse at the top of the betting and also want a bigger price. So make your case.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Samarive. Did you call him Samarive? I called him Samarive.
Wait, did I? I feel like it should be Samarive.
Is it, or is it Samarive?
Well, I think it should. I was at Kempton on that day, and I think I went Samarive, but it feels like it's
Samarive. Samarive, then it's Samarive, isn't it?
Okay, Samarive.
I'll go with the posh ones.
French, isn't it? Samarive.
Okay, French then. I think he's very hard to look past. I suppose he's already got that kind of form to his name with an impressive win at Kempton on his first run for Paul Nicholls, and the form's worked out well. The third has won 3 times since. That win was by 13 lengths. He seems quite versatile form-wise. He won his maiden hurdle out in France on heavy. Kempton was good. I know it's good again for Saturday. If we do get any rain forecast, then he should be able to handle it. And I'm just going to put up Ingleby Hollow for a nice each-way place bet, just purely because he's actually now gone to Rebecca Menzies, who was with David O'Mara's. I remember the day he had his last run for David at Thirsk, and Di, who has looked after him for so many years there, was absolutely crying her eyes out because she'd found out there and then that he was going to be moving to Rebecca Menzies. He'd won 9 times on the flat for David, and she absolutely loves the horse. But luckily, he's in good heart. He's been running well for Rebecca. He's run twice, and he hasn't been beaten all that far ahead, a short head. So he's running quite consistently. He's a big price, 13.0. So I'm going to stick with him for a nice little place. But I don't think it'll be long before he gets his head in front for Rebecca. And Summer Eve will stick with him for a win bet.
Which brings us nicely onto Deasy, because I know you agree on the Ingleby Hollow front, but you're taking on Summer Eve. So go on, why?
Yeah, this is a bet now I probably wouldn't place until the very close to the race, depending on his price. But I can't see how you can look at him and say that he's well handicapped. He's had 1 run over hurdles, and he's given away to a lot of more experienced horses. He could be the class act in the field, but I just think at the price, just with 2 runs under his belt, I would be taking him on. I wouldn't lay him to win, but I might lay him to place, because hopefully we're getting a price of about 1.5, 1.6. So you'd only be, it'd be a small loss if he does hit the top 4. But I take a chance that there could be other horses in this that are better handicapped. There usually is 1 or 2 of them in here that have a few pounds in hand. And again, you're going to be getting 4 places, maybe 5. So that's only the small. That would be the main bet in the race. I really like Ingleby Hollow as well. Last time he's only been beaten, I think, a nose the last, or a short head the last 2 times. Like, he was wrong at the weights with Alkmaar last time. He's going to be a hold up horse and will be coming from the back. Again, he was just been very unlucky the last 2 times, like beating a short head by Blakeney Point, who had everything in his favour, and then the race with Alkmaar again, he was just very, very unlucky. I think this is the furthest south he's ever come as well for a race. She's sending him down for a reason. So I think he's definitely a great each way bet. And I think the main bet in the race is Timberman, Fergal O'Brien's horse. Now, he doesn't seem to be the pick of the horses on jockey bookings. He's Fergus Gregory on him. But he won at Doncaster last year, beating a horse called Joylo by the Skeletons, who won next time out. And he ran all over the place. I think he was 2 lengths down jumping the last, got up next to Joylo, went completely left, ran all over the track, and still got up by about 2 lengths. And they threw him into the grade 1 at the entry that Belfast Banter won the next time. So they thought it was worth having to go at that. Again, they're both about is it, did you say 14.0 for both of them? Yeah, so I'll be doing a winning place on both. Yeah. Fergal O'Brien, he had Benny's Bridge to win this 2 years ago, and he was the favourite dasher, but blew up. But I mean, he obviously targets the race. So I think he could have a bit in his favour. So there's about 4. This is the only race that I went through that all the horses I picked out are actually turning up. But these are the 2 I'm going to stick with. I think Ingleby Hollow and Timberman winning place.
Okay, 13.0. And as far as the place lay bet on the favourite goes, that's a sort of nearer the off time. See what price he is. Yeah,
like if he's 1.5, like you can bet a tenner on that, and you only lose a fiver if he comes into the top 5, and if he doesn't hit the top 5, you win your tenner. So happy days.
Nats, one shout for you at a decent price.
Yeah, I feel like I'm sort of wrapping up what you've both said. To be fair, Summer Eve, I think, has got sort of untapped potential and could be something really, really smart. My concern with Summer Eve is carrying that 11-11, which will obviously be 11-8 with Lorcan on board. For this 4-year-old at Cheltenham, he could win by 10 lengths or he will get beaten. I still think he does look a smart prospect. He jumps brilliantly, but I just think at that weight, I don't know, I think I quite like to take these on. I think one thing I wanted to say is it's just a weird time of year because you've got your fit summer jumping horses which come into match fit, which I prefer in handicaps. That's my preference. I prefer to see something that's been running, and then you're taking on classy jumpers, but they're returning because obviously it's the beginning of like the proper jump season. So I'm going to stick with things that have been running. My pick is Uncle Henry for Gordon Elliott. Now you can see in Uncle Henry's form, he actually had 2 falls in July and August, but hopefully that's been ironed out a little bit, because then he came over the water for Perth, where he was third. That wasn't the worst run. Looked at the replay. I took a few bits out of that. And then Fairy House on the 9th of October. So literally 14 days ago. He's 4th of 12. He finished well, though. And that's what I like to see. I just think it's quite significant, Gordon bringing him over. Gordon probably got a point to prove, and this jockey, Jordan Gainford, I can't sing his praises enough. I think he's a potential superstar of a jockey. So I'm on Uncle Henry. And
Uncle Henry is 15.0 shot for Jordan Gainford and Gordon Elliott. Just to pick up for me on Samarive, I don't want to back him at that price, but I wouldn't want to be out and out against him. I was really impressed with that Kempton run, and impressed with the Paul Nicholls comments afterwards, because he tends to give you a good idea or a good gauge of where his horses are. And I got the impression he liked the horse a lot. I take the point that he's one of those sort of 4 rising 5-year-olds, which taking on older horses won't be easy, and giving a lot of weight away. But I just feel, I think they were a bit concerned about the ground for him as well last time, because it was good ground. He'd won on heavy out in France. But he did win on good ground. There's not much rain in the forecast until Saturday either. So I think, we're probably looking at good to soft at worst. But I'll just let him run. And the horse that I want to have on side is the other Fergal O'Brien horse, Byzantine Empire. I used to have him in my tracker when he was a John Gosden horse, and he never won. So that worked out well. But he's had his win done. He's had a bit of a break. The Newton Abbott run behind Celestial Force, well, that horse was 4 to 7 shot that day, and pretty much a good thing in just a 3-runner race. But I thought, if anything, he probably wanted a bit more of a test. They didn't go very quick in a 3-runner race, and then when the pace picked up, he looked a bit outpaced and beaten by a better treated horse. But I thought it was enough to indicate he was fairly treated. Interesting to have had the win done. The ground, I think, is going to be ideal for him. And I like Lily Pinchin as well. She had a really good winter. I think she could have a good time of it as well. She had a good winter last year. So I thought at 11.0, just small win and place, because I think Cheltenham's really difficult, would be where I'm looking there. So lots of big prices. Timberman in Ingleby Hollow, a couple of shouts for that. Uncle Henry, Byzantine Empire, and Samarive for Adele as well, who wants to have him on side. Looks like he could be tough to beat if showing up. The 220 is 3 miles and a furlong. And we've got 14 runners for this. Kerry Lee's in good nick. Storm Control heads the betting at 6.0. Cloth Cap is 7.0, last seen pulling up in the Grand National. Jersey Bean is 8.0. Manila Bobo is 8.0. Demanda Lille is 11.0, as is Just Your Type. And then we get into slightly bigger prices. Goodness me, there's a team steam here. I don't know who I want to come to first. Dees, I feel like you were most confident, maybe. So make the case for the team steam.
Definite plan. I think we're all on definite plan. Gordon Elliott's horse there. He sneaks in at the bottom of the weights there. He's going to be carrying 10-1. The fact the Cloth Cap has turned up has really worked out in his favour. So, like I said before this, I thought I had the right sneaky one here picked out, but the 2 girls have spotted him as well. So, definite plan. This is only his second chase. He came back at the start of last season from a long break, in 2019, from 509 days off in a maiden hurdle in Downpatrick, and absolutely bolted up under Davy Russell. He won by 6 lengths, but he was much better than that. They've kind of kept him to hurdles, and again, he seems to be hard enough to win when he was going over shorter distances, but he's had a run out there now a few weeks ago at Gordon Park. He finished second. He's beaten by a horse called Fully Charged. That'll have him spot on for this. Like, he's in here now rated at 131. I'd say he definitely is a better horse than that. Now, he's 9 years old, but he doesn't have as much racing as many other 9-year-olds, because he's had 2 long breaks in his career. But I think he's a high class horse. Again, Jordan Gainford has taken off 3 pounds. I think he could be, and he's a very nice price for this. He's going to be, is he 15.0?
He's another half decent price for Gordon Elliott. He is 15.0. Cheap pieces on for the first time.
When I saw him entered for this first, I thought, like, he's not going to run. He's just over here now to check what the English handicapper is going to give him. And he lay him out for the Kim Muir or something like that. That was my initial thoughts when I saw him. So when I saw him actually jocked up and entered today, I was delighted.
Gordon does that a lot, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Vado Fort now, it was in 2 mile race there. I keep an eye on him. I was just checking his mark. I forgot to write it down, but I'd say that's another one now where he's just seeing what the English handicapper is going to get, and he's working backwards from Cheltenham with that then.
Okay, definite plan 15.0 for you. Nats, what would you like to add?
Yeah, so there's not a lot else I can add, because obviously I'm up firmly in the Gordon Elliott camp this Cheltenham. But that's exactly, I've pretty much written exactly what you've said, to be honest. It was the first time cheap pieces also caught my eye. This horse has been suffering a little bit from seconditis back in the form. But again, it's the same jockey booking, and I'm just really keen on this jockey. I can also just mention a few others if it breaks it up a bit, because Go Another One, he's been so good over the summer, but he's gone up with a handicap as a result. So still been really, really good over the summer. So certainly one to watch out for. And Cloth Cap, I mean, at Kelso that day, I fell in love with this horse. Of course, it was the right decision to pull him up in the Grand National. Could he be a Grand National winner? Yes, I think he could. But if you look at Cloth Cap's record, going fresh or seasonal reappearance, it's not very good. So I think Cloth Cap needs this run. I know he's had a wind up, which could help him enormously. But I can't remember exact form figures, like 5th, 3rd, when you see him fresh. So that really puts me off. And that has firmly put me on with Definite Plan. And I'm pretty keen on this horse.
Definite Plan as well for you. And Adele, if you can find another angle into the horse, please do. I can't believe you've all gone for the same one.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly didn't expect either of Natalie or Deasy to be going for Definite Plan. I love Cloth Cap, but Natalie's already said, his record when running on his reappearance is pretty poor, so he'll need the run. Even though he's had a wind operation prior to this reappearance, I still think he'll probably need it. But we know he's a nice horse. It's just whether he's going to be fit enough to to run well on his first run back. And I kind of mainly went for then a horse that has already got race fitness on side, as Natalie said, at this time of year. Sometimes in these kind of races, especially at Cheltenham, you need something that's going to be fit and that stays. And his Definite Plan's been slogging around 12 stone on his back, and he's only got 10 stone 1, and Jordan takes off a £3 allowance. So I think he'll find it a little bit easier on Saturday, and he's got the cheap pieces on as well. I don't think he's the easiest to ride. He definitely takes a little bit of coaxing along, so hopefully the cheap pieces will help just bring out that little bit more improvement in him. But not really got much more to say on it, really. I think we've covered it all with Definite Plan, and I can't believe all three of us agreed on one horse. A big choice as well.
At 15.0. I'm not with Definite Plan. I've just got a sceptical shout on one of Nige's. Not though. So DC has got another shout. We'll come to that. I'm going to have a win and place go on Redford Road, who's just a much bigger price than I thought he'd be at 26.0. He is a course winner. I backed him for the Albert Bartlett a few years ago because he fit the bill for that, but it didn't work out at all. He was well beaten on that occasion. And then his chase career it was just awful, really. He lined up at Perth initially, was a bit disappointing in a novice chase. Then he got struck into at Newbury. Then he went to Haydock in the race on heavy ground won by Royal Pagaille. Then he lined up in a handicap chase at Newbury, where I was interested in him but didn't back him. But he managed to lose both shoes. I don't know how much difference that made, but more importantly, sustained a wound to his right hind. And then they went back over hurdles. So effectively, if you look at all of those, it was really only the Perth run that he came back sound and had any chance. So I'm just willing to. He has to be well treated. He is on hurdles form off a mark of 130. He's a course winner, and I just thought he was way overpriced because I think it's just too soon to write him off over fences, just because a couple of times he's come back with an injury. So I will give him another go. And I might bring in Giles's comment now if I can, actually, which is I've just got a feeling Nigel will have the hollow ginge primed for this. This is Giles Dexter. Thanks for this. His form completely tailed off last season, but he's well handicapped on his Ladbrokes Trophy run. Well done, getting a Ladbrokes trophy and not calling it the Hennessy. That's superb. I tell you what, great work, Giles. Yeah, that's a much better race than this. He might be a silly price on the Matchbook pod on Saturday with those P's next to his name. He could well be. And Deasy, you agree?
I do. Thanks for making the argument for me, Giles. I had him. He's actually after doubling in price since the Dex. I think he was. I might have marked up as 15.0 yesterday. Now he's available at nearly double that. As Giles said, like he ran an absolute cracker there behind Clawcap. He was actually giving Clawcap £8 as well that day in the Ladbrokes Trophy. Finished fourth, and I think his next race then was the Welsh National. He ran in that 3 mile 5 race in Warwick, and after that pulled up. Like his form figures would lead you to believe that he's a terrible horse, but he's a very honest horse. I think he's getting in here, he's a great chance, and getting the weights. He's 10-7. They usually give him a run first to kind of get him fit, but I think the fact that he's thrown in here now, Sam Twiston Davis is on him. I think that's he's like at the price, he's a cracking win and place bet. I would have been fancying him to go close anyway, even at the price he is. So now he's 26.0 on my screen here. I think that's a fantastic price and a fantastic bet, and I'd be going heavily on the place and definitely going on the win market as well. Just on Redford Road as well, Tom. He's entered in the amateur chase tomorrow at the 450 at Cheltenham with Zach Baker on him, so he mightn't run.
It's a very good spot. He's declared for that. The trouble is that I've already got the winner of that, so I don't think he's going to win that. I think Christian Williams' horse, The Future is Bright, is going to win that. So, but that's a good point. That is a very good point. I mean, he's not going to run, is he? Because he's a shorter price for that.
But he's carrying 12.4 in the amateur race, so he might. And
No,
he's rated 127 in the amateur race, and he's rated 130 for this. So.
I think that's a good point. So there you go. Well, I'll stick with it, but look, I don't think he's going to line up, so no money lost. Okay, and if The Future is Bright does win that, I'm going to after time on social media. All done with that one. Let's kick on to the Masterson Holdings hurdle. So this is the 255, 2 miles, half a furlong. It's a disappointing turnout, I suppose. We've just got the 4. Tritonic is 2.0, 4.0 for Stepney Causeway, 5.0 for I Like to Move It, and 2 shots at Tequila is pretty much any price you like. Certainly, I think we'll be on the exchange anyway come race time. Dees, I know you're sitting this out. 2 shots for Stepney Causeway from myself and Nats, but you can make the case first, Nats.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, so lots of anticipation around Tritonic, and I can see that because I always seem to contradict myself, but I hope this makes sense because Tritonic has got the classier form in a way, but what I can see happening in this race is Tritonic's been documented, we've seen it, that he can be keen. This is a small field. So if Tritonic's off and pulling hard, which he has been in the past, he's given the jockey plenty of work to do to keep hold of him. I see this skeleton horse in Stepney Causeway. We know Dan has said that he really likes left-handed. He also likes decent ground. So there's 2 ticks there. For me, it's tactics. We know Stepney Causeway is a front runner. I think Harry is going to be able to dictate the pace in this. He's going to be happy that Stepney Causeway is going to stay there because it's made all in his races. So that suits. And I think he could just catch Tritonic out because I think Tritonic's going to be keen and a bit feisty. And this, for me, tactically wise, just sets it up for Stepney Causeway.
Yeah, I've got little to add, to be honest. I think that's exactly how it's going to work out. And just at the prices, I'd much rather be on Stepney Causeway. And I think there's going to be a sound surface. He's going to go forward. I'm not necessarily writing. I don't know, actually. I'll ask you, Nat. So that Tritonic form at Cheltenham, obviously that was in the Triumph. But yeah. Do you think it's too soon to say Tritonic's not a Cheltenham horse?
What I'm confused about, Tom, and hopefully someone on social media can help me out, is Kingy had said he was unsuited by the going and would prefer a quicker surface, right? Mm. We can ignore the flat runs, that's no problem. But last time was at Ascot on heavy. So it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make total sense. I'm just a bit confused. I just need to see Tritonic again. I need to get back in the game. Of course he can be a Cheltenham horse. I just don't think it's this Saturday, because I do think he's going to be keen, and I think in this small field it can set it up for Stepney Causeway. But I'm a little bit confused about Tritonic, so I just need to get my eye in again, and just see what he's up to this time.
Yeah. But when I first looked at the race before, these looked like there might be a few more, but it looked like Tritonic and Stepney Causeway were definitely going to show up, and I there were no prices, and I thought, well, I might end up putting up Tritonic because I think he'll be underestimated and considered not a Cheltenham horse, but I think it's too soon to say that. And now looking at the prices, I'd much rather have Stepney Causeway, who I'm sure will trade shorter than the current price as well in the run. So there's always worth bearing that in mind. But he's going to get his ground, and I think he'll make all and
get £8 from Tritonic.
Exactly, and he's getting the weight as well. So 2 shots for Stepney Causeway. And Adele, what, you're not with Tritonic? Who are you with?
No, I'm with I Like to Move It. To be honest, I was going to sit this race out, especially when I saw the field size. You know, these kind of races, as Natalie said, they can kind of turn into quite tactical affairs. Tritonic, I presume, will be quite keen, especially on his first run back. Even Stepney Causeway, he might get an easy lead out in front, but I still think we want to be going for a horse that's got race fitness on side and is just that little bit more straightforward. I Like to Move It. Looks quite uncomplicated kind of horse. I quite like his attitude. Doesn't do a lot wrong. That was a decent run last time out at Worcester when he won on his reappearance. Once he kind of got on top of Hermes Boy, he grinded it out well, and I thought he looked like he had a really good attitude. So just bearing in mind the fact that there's only 4 runners and it could turn out quite tactical, I'm purely just going to go on my B bet, which would have been I Like to Move It, and just hope that the race fitness on side and just having a horse that just looks nice and straightforward and quite easy. And I think Sam will keep it nice and uncomplicated, and I'll probably just take a lead off Stepney Causeway.
Perfect. Deasy, did you want to say anything? Or are you happy? Move on. Look at that. Move on. To the 3:30, which is, I thought this was tough. 9-runner, 2-mile handicap chase. Sky Pirate Festival winner is right at the top of the betting, 4.0. Before Midnight is 4.5. 7.0 for Balagas. Leap Away is also 7.0. Bathiba 11.0. And then we're into these slightly bigger prices. Dees, right? You led off with the last team's team. Adele, you can lead off with this team's team.
I've gone for Sky Pirate. To be honest, I'm not like completely confident on him. I thought it was a very tricky race. I'm purely going on the fact that, you know, from what we've seen before, he was very lucky. He only really got put on his place, didn't he, by All Mankind, you know, who went on to finish 4th in the Arkle. He seems to run well fresh, so that's a good point. And then also he goes well at Cheltenham as well. He's well clear on ratings, so I'm going to just stick with him, really. I've been a little bit boring sticking with what I suppose is the favourite and with Sky Pirate, but I haven't got a whole lot to add on him. I wasn't going to go in strong on this race, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's tough. Nat, Sky Pirate for you as well.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's wide open. One thing about these races is you could make a case for every single runner and you wouldn't sound daft. You know, you can look at all of these horses and give an opinion. I am going to stick with Sky Pirate. John Joe's already said, you know, he really likes a good gallop and he likes the track. So it's kind of like a couple of ticks in this race. It's very, very trappy, but look, he's got good course form, the festival winner and the Johnny Henderson. He's top weight though, off 159, first time out of the season. He's given plenty of weight away, but he's this type of horse, like if he wins this and he does look sort of classy enough, he's into graded company, so he's also quite exciting. So you can look at this race and it's really trappy, it's tricky. But if we see Sky Pirate win and win nicely, that's an exciting horse for us to follow through the season. Because like I say, then he'll be in graded company. I looked a little bit at Hatcher. He's been impressive in the summer. Absolutely bombed out last time at Cartmel. And Cartmel to Cheltenham for me, couldn't be any more different. So it's a completely different contest. Before Midnight for San Thomas, seeking a hat-trick, but he's only won one of his 7 chases. So that put me off a little bit. Belagas would probably be my next sort of one I'd look at for Nick Gifford. 2 from 10, probably needs further, although again, contradict myself, but last time was 2.5 lengths, but he is a winner at 2 miles. JP is the owner. I know JP enjoys his handicap. So Belagas would be my second pick, but I'm going to be boring and stick with Sky Pirate. And if he wins this, I'll be excited for the future.
Yeah, JP enjoys handicapping.
I don't know, I got a bit nervous then. I was like, enjoy handicaps?
Yeah.
Should I say it?
It's the thing though with JP is it's really hard to verbalize what quite often we're all thinking, but it's just the way it is. It's you know,
He
it's
loves
hard,
it.
sometimes it's hard to say it, but we just you know how the handicap game works, and there you go. Right, I'm going to come on to Belagas because I am probably stupidly going to put him up. But Dees, what do you want to add to Sky Pirate?
There's no one in this race is even near the class of Sky Pirate. It is interesting you say about the handicap, because the only negative I had looking at him was that maybe John Joe wants to get him back down the handicap a small bit so he can win the Grand Annual again. But I don't think he'll do that. If you look at the last 3 years, it's gone to nearly the top rated horse every time. Rouge Riff won it last year and went for graded races. Same as St. Calvados the year before. Like he should be able to carry the weight and beat all this crowd. And I took the price yesterday before Dex came up because he was a bigger price. I'd say he should win easily, and I could see him running in a lot better races than this Sunday. But I think he's the best bet of the day. I don't think any of them will get near him. The only other horse in the race I was kind of looking at maybe to place was Vodarev. He's an ex-Willie Mullins horse going up to Ian Jardine, another man who enjoys handicapping. He placed him fairly well a few times there last year. He might have a bit left in the tank. He might be the one to chase him home, maybe hit second or third, but I think Sky Pirate should win this fairly easily, and I'll be backing him win only all the way.
Sky Pirate and the champion chase winner Put the Kettle On have the same rating. So I know she's a mare, but interesting they're rocking back up in a handicap. Just to make a loose case for Belagas, I still think he's definitely well treated off a mark of 138. Yes, we don't know exactly what the team are going to want to do with him, but if you look at his career so far, it was all about the Sandown race on the 24th of April. That race is named in honour of Nick Gifford's dad, Josh Gifford, and it was really all about him winning that race. So I think he had to win really to get up. So I think there was a lot of, he was a well handicapped horse off a mark of 121. They went to Sandown where really he had to win to get up to a mark to get into that race. He then fell on his next start, and then that was a good handicap. And then he won on better ground. And actually Nick suggested that he may have improved for better ground that day. I take the point this is back over 2 miles, and maybe he'd want more testing ground for that. But it's Cheltenham. It's a stiff enough finish, and I just think it's really hard to know where he's going to be for the day. But I'm just really think he's a well treated horse off 138 still, and at 7.0 win and place, I am happy enough to have a small play to find out. But I wouldn't be surprised if I'm completely wrong.
They're very, very horsey family. Do you know Josh Gifford's favourite saying, what he always used to say to everyone about every horse? He always used to say, "Marvellous, Ruddy Marvellous." And there's actually a Marvellous partnership who own a horse called Marvellous. That's why it's called Marvellous. Just a little silly fact for you.
Yeah.
Because everything was marvellous.
Yeah, Nick's a top man as well. He's a tall man. So Belagas, 7.0, but lots of votes for Sky Pirate at the top of the betting there. And then we go on to the 405, which is the Pertemps qualifier. Who doesn't love a Pertemps qualifier? With Tully Begg for Gordon Elliott and Jordan Gameford, 8.0 at the top of the betting. Haul Away is 10.0. It's a big open field. Panic Attack is 12.0. There are a host of others in at 13.0 of the 15 runners. So we'll just get straight on with selections. And if it's a bigger price, I will give you the selection that's been put up. Adele, you first of all.
Oh, to be honest with you, I wrote about 4 down, crossed those out. I literally was going around in circles in this race. I'm hoping I've gone for a big price, hoping that I can play both of them at both markets, small at win bet and a bit each way. And it's just going to be Havana Hermano, who definitely gets credit for being consistent in defeat. You can see 3 seconds by his name. So I'm just going to go for one. He's run over hurdles and fences, so I think he's holding his own against horses that could run in this kind of race and win and be placed. So I'm not overly confident. I'm just again going to go for something small on a win bet with him and on a little bit of a place as well, just purely going on consistency and the fact that he's got race fitness on side. But I'm not very strong in this race.
Yeah, last run just under 3 weeks ago at Utoxeter. Havana Hermano is 15.0. Stuart Edmonds and Kieran Gethins. That's a big Cheltenham winners before. Deasy.
I had actually went a bit lazy on this race, and I had picked out Edison Kent, who wasn't running, who finished second to Tullybeg the last time and completely wrong at the weights. But she's not running, so there's no point in even talking about it. I'm going for Born Patriot, Peter Fahey's horse. 4th to Tullybeg last time. There was actually 4 horses entered in this that ran in that race. The Tullybeg race, I think, was down Royal the last time. At Navan in September. Born Patriot is rated 132. I think he's 7 pounds higher than his Irish mark. He is just being brought along nicely by Peter Fahey. He landed a few touches there now last year with Belfast Banter, the same owners in this. No, I had him picked out as a winning place bet. He was a much bigger price before Dex. He's in there now about 8.0. It still wouldn't put me off. And I think the thing about Pertemps qualifiers, you got to pick out the ones that kind of want to win and the ones that want to place. I think Tullybeg is rated 140. I heard a long time ago that he was Gordon's Pertemps horse for Cheltenham this year. He won't want him going up too far up the weights. That'd be what would put me off from here. I think he'd be quite happy to scoot in 2nd or 3rd or 4th, maybe get a 6 pound rise and keep him ticking over then for the rest of the year. And same as the boss's Oscar ran into him last year off 151, and that's probably what lost him the race. If he was a few more pounds in hand, I think he could have won that easily enough. Tullybeg is very similar to him, but I'm just going to stick with Born Patriot. I think Born Patriot should have a good crack off it. He might win. I think he definitely plays.
Okay, Born Patriot, win and place for you. Did you give the price, Deasy? To 11.0 I've got for Kevin Sexton, Peter Fahey. And then I like what Nats has written on our document here. Tullybeg for the Gordon Elliott treble.
The only thing is, I totally agree with Deasy because my other pick is Born Patriot, but I'm going hard, so I'm going for a treble because I want to make loads of money. So I'm hoping, but the point is exactly what Dee said about the Pertemps in its actuality at the festival, and it's such a good point. But my point is just got everything to prove. He's a man on a mission. Tullybeg hopefully is going to complete my treble. I'm going to be delighted with myself if that comes off. I looked at Hall Away for a little bit and wasn't that fluent jumping, so that kind of put me off. I tried to get Butler's Brief, and I've just come down on Born Patriot, but I can't duck out of Tullybeg for my big one, can I? My big Saturday treble. I've got to stick with it now. Although Deasy, you nearly put me off.
Go for it. I put up a double on this pod last year, and I got one of them right. So
I love it that your best bet is actually the Gordon Elliott treble. When we get to that, I'm gonna find that I'll get the treble price for you. Imagine if that cops.
It's unlikely, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not. Oh, if you do the place treble as well,
I think that's more sensible, Tom. The place treble's much more sensible. But I was trying to think of like the big headline that it'd be the next day, and I couldn't think of any. I was kind of like, no, what would the headline be? It wouldn't be very strange, would it, if you got a treble?
Yeah, he's got some. Well, I say he's got some live chances. They're all big prices. So I have gone for Tullybeg as well. I thought initially the race was framed around him, like Dee says, probably not winning it. After he won at Goran, the suggestion was he's not going to run much over the winter because he wants good ground. So yeah, getting qualified for the Pertemps here, 140 I think the last few winners have gone up 7 and 9 for winning this. If he wins, he'll go up. He'll go up at least 6. You would imagine, but I found it hard to be against him because he does look a really well treated horse. He's going to get his ground, and ultimately, rather than trying to second guess Gordon, I just feel that I want to have him on side Tullybeg. It'd be a small bet, but I just think it's not right to go into a race on the horse you like most, thinking, well, he's not going to be trying to win. So, yeah, I'm trying to sort of third guess him. Small bet on Tullybeg for me. For all I take the point that Deasy's made on board, but I think he's the best treated horse in the race, and I don't think Gordon will be exactly fuming if he rocks up in a Pertemps off 147 or 148. For all his rating now on the last few years, it'll be good enough to get in. So Tullybeg small, and probably just a small win for me at the prices. Cheltenham, we're done, right? Everyone happy?
Happy?
Johnny. This is absolute filth because once again we've all gone for the same horse. And I thought I was being clever, but we have. So I think Nats is the one that hasn't led off for a team's team. So Bayside Boy for the Vertem Futurity. Make your case.
Oh no, me first on the flat. Oh no, my case is there was just nothing not to like about Bayside Boy, the Champagne Stakes, when I was at Doncaster. He's neat. He is, going to be, well, Roger's already said, a miler at 3. It was the way that he won the Champagne Stakes I liked the most. Under David Egan, he was keen. He took a really keen hold, and at one point I thought, "Oh goodness me!" He was held up in last. He ran on well in the closing stages to win by a head for Reach to the Moon. Yeah, where's Reach to the Moon? I thought Reach to the Moon would be in this. I'm so confused.
I think they're just putting him away for the year. I think they were disappointed last time.
I do, but that is a very nice prospect for Her Majesty. Reach to the Moon. Definitely going to be looking for that as a 3-year-old. But yeah, he's just a real neat horse. The one comment I've written down, Tom, is little bit of a daisy cutter action. So not an awful lot of bend in his knees and his hocks. But he's a long, sort of low movement type of horse. So even though I say that looks more like he'd want more on top of the ground, but he actually doesn't look ground dependent. So he's one of those confusing ones for me where I'd say, oh, little bit of a daisy cutter action, but then actually he just looks classy enough, doesn't he? He just looks a good enough horse. So I'm very keen on Bayside Boy. Already holds an entry at the Curragh for the 2,000 guineas next year. And I just really rate Verrin as a trainer. So I'm all over Bayside Boy.
Bayside Boy, I owe you prices, don't I? I got so excited about Bayside Boy, I didn't give you any prices. 2.0 Luxembourg, Royal Patronage, the forever underestimated horse, 5.0, 8.0 Bayside Boy. Imperial Fighter is 8.5, 11.0 Sissoko, 34.0, and big of the rest. Adele, Bayside Boy.
Well, Paul and I have been through this race several times because he's actually got riding the race. He rides Hannibal Barker for Brian Meehan, but we've actually both come down on Bayside Boy purely with his native trail form. So he's a horse that I think is crying out for that little bit further. He's got plenty of stamina in his breeding. Royal Patronage, I thought he looked like he needed every yard of the mile at Newmarket, and it's an easier mile at Doncaster. So I'm not quite sure whether he just looked a bit slow to me. I think Bayside Boy's just got that little bit more exuberance about him. I think we know Doncaster suits him well, so I think I just think he's not overlooked, but I think he should be even second favourite behind Luxembourg. I mean, it's hard to back one of Aidan O'Brien's, isn't it? With just with his form, even down at Ascot last weekend, his horses they're just so hard to even pick from the paddock. Snowfall, they're quite light and they kind of lack that kind of like when you look at them in the paddock and you expect to see something nice, big and strong, and they just usually a little bit like slight and weedy looking. They just look ultra fit, if anything. So his horses are even hard to pick in the paddock at the moment as well. And I'm not surprised to see a lot of people looking past Luxembourg. So Bayside Boy, Paul agrees with me. He thinks this horse will run a big race. He thinks it's the likeliest winner as well.
You know that if Hannibal Barca wins it, the stick you're going to get, Adele. Can you imagine?
I know. As a jockey, you're going to look through races and kind of look to see which one you think is going to be the one, the one to win and the one you're going to want to beat. And that's the horse that I think's got probably the best form out the UK anyway, coming into it. I said, Royal Patronage, I think looked a bit slow to me.
What ground is Paul or you guys expecting for Donny out of interest?
It'll be soft ground. There is some rain forecast for Saturday. I mean, it's quite nice and dry at the moment, but it's so heavy, isn't it? The dews on a morning that even a little bit of sunshine, it doesn't dry out. Really, like you kind of need a lot of wind, don't you, at this time of year to dry out the top of it? But we're not even getting that. So I'd say it'll be slow on Saturday. It'll be soft.
Yeah, I think.
Go on.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely will be soft, but it is just sort of alluding to like what Adele said as well. I just think with Roger Varian being confident about this horse being a very good miler as a 3-year-old, I think it just all the arrows go towards Bayside Boy. Really, like I just can't. Yeah, I just can't really see it. And Royal Patronage, can we just talk about that race with Caribus? I've never seen anything like it. Caribus is like, I think you're Caribus or Native Trail, aren't you? Like, well, I'm Caribus. That horse, God, it's extraordinary. And I don't know, just greenness, I think. And Caribus had no idea that he was about to get pipped, did he? In the Royal Lodge. So yeah, I'd go against Royal Patronage in this as well.
I think the trainer is Team Caribus as well. Just if that's of interest to anyone for the Giddies next year. The only thing to add to Bayside Boy is New Bay is just fantastic. Sarah's having another excellent season. I wasn't convinced about a mile for Bayside Boy after the Newbury defeat, although it turned out to be decent form. And then I thought, Donny, maybe they didn't go hard enough for Reach for the Moon, and maybe Bayside Boy just did him for toe. But there is no doubt off the back of the Dewhurst that this horse seems to want a mile. He was slowly away. He didn't get going as quick as the others as well because he had to wait a little bit. And then he ran on. It's up there with the best form going. And I thought it was a very fair price at 8.0. Dease?
Yeah, I really like Bayside Boy. I was all over him the day that he was beaten by Masakita. It was absolutely sick. And I thought he was absolutely class. And he beat Fine on debut. Probably bringing back bad memories about him beating Reach for the Moon. You made a great case for Reach for the Moon that day, Tom. He was giving it all the one about how Her Majesty was going to win the Derby next year and it was going to be great. Beating the odds on the next day.
Yeah. I was hoping you weren't going to say the odds on part, but you did. Yeah. Brutal.
Sorry.
To be fair, I stuck him up at 2.0, so I sort of beat the market. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, look, I think that like especially at the price, I think he's got a great chance. You sure Hannibal Barca has no chance? Adele, Brian Mean has 5 winners from his last 18 runs. Are you just putting us off the slip here now, getting the price?
You've got the main man on board. He's absolutely fine. Never say never.
Might have a small saver on him as well. But Bayside Boy be the main one, and I just noticed that there's a Jim Bulger horse in here as well. So. At a massive price, Jim wouldn't be sending him over for the fresh air, lads.
Yeah, that McTeague, is it McTeague?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd look at that.
Yeah, no, I think Bayside Boy has a great chance, especially at the price as well. You wouldn't really know about Luxembourg because he beat Manu Accarde, who's been out a lot. I know that there was good word for him from the Jim Bulger that he was a decent horse, but Luxembourg beat him very easily, and Manu Accarde doesn't really have much other form, so. It's hard to judge that, and Bayside Boy is like he said, he's locked one in his favour. Stick with him.
Okay, Bayside Boy then for I'd say we're either going to have a really good week or a really bad week.
We all need it together, though. That's the good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many we've picked the similar because I looked at it and thought, oh my God, this is so tricky today. Well, Cheltenham anyway, and it's funny, isn't it? We've been in agreement.
There is a couple of agreements in the 350 as well, which is the Doncaster Stakes. Nothing from Deasy. Fair enough. I was very close to nothing as well.
I haven't tipped the 2-year-old winner all year. I don't know I'm going to start now, so I left it alone.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Flaming Rib heads the betting for Pierre-Louis Jamin and Tom Dascombe at 2.33. Deodar is 4.0, gold medal 8.0, 11.0, Mohi. Then we get into bigger prices. Well, Parisiac is 13.0. So, Nat, straight back at you.
Yeah, I've got Parisiac. I think some of it, Adele can probably back me up here, hopefully, maybe. All my memories, like working in Yorkshire, just Brian Smart, he knows what he's doing, and I think when he's got a talented horse, he's very good at. What I liked about Parisiac, this 2-year-old by Kodiak, was that Nottingham debut. It was one of those races when you watch it back, ducked right at the start, was really keen, was so green, unbelievable, but just kept on. Just always did enough. Only won by half a length, but it was a good half length because of the way that the race unfolded, if that makes sense. Like, I think just everything sort of went wrong and just looked such a baby. Like I say, so green. And then to hold on with the tenacity and the attitude he showed. My theory in this is it's a good price and surely is going to come on from that. In a real positive way. Adele, the only question I was going to ask you, if that's okay, Tom, if that's all right, is I don't know very much at all about the jockey. I really don't.
Yeah, well, the reason Gianluca rides him is because he's not the most easiest of horses. He's quite highly strung, so Gianluca rides him out at Brian's every day, and I have to say fair play, to Brian for letting him ride him. I'd say probably Graham Lee doesn't want to ride him, especially when I've seen him come out the stalls at one of Brian Smart's at Pontefract the other day that bronked for a furlong, and even Brian. I think we'll put Jan on that one as well. He's a brave little rider, and when you know these horses' quirks at home and you ride them every day, it stands you in good stead. Then when you go to the track and you kind of know what you're gonna get. But that was a really good performance at Nottingham, and you can tie in obviously Eldrick Jones, who wasn't beaten far in a conditions race. Then Canonise was behind him, who'd won a Group 3. So I think there's still bits of kind of like of good form in there if you pull in a couple of them horses. Breeding wise, he's got plenty of black type in his breeding. There's plenty of group performers in there, Profitable being one of them. So even though he's, I know Brian, probably not the most fashionable of trainers compared to the likes of Rafe Beckett and Clive Cox, but he can train a 2-year-old, Brian. He really can. And like I said, I think the fact that Gianluca knows him, he knows him well, that'll probably stand him in good stead, and he's a big price as well. So I just thought I'd jump on the place market. A lot of them 2-year-olds have got form on the all weather, so might probably want a sounder surface. We know this horse goes on the ground because it won on soft at Nottingham. Flaming Rib, most of his form has been on a better surface, good to firm. He does look quite versatile horse though, but I'm just going to go in at a big price. I thought, I think fair play to Brian Smart for keeping Gianluca on him. He can't claim in the race because it's a listed race, but he knows the horse well. It'll be his biggest win of his career, and fingers crossed and good luck to him. I hope he wins.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. Parisiac ahead of that. I mean, Eldrick Horse is a Eldrick Jones, is a good horse, rated 100. So ultimately, Parisiac can't really have run too far off a little bit off Flaming Rib, but he ran to a good level first up. I was out to probably go with Flaming Rib, and then like you say, I have this ground niggle. I'd be no surprise for Flaming Rib to go and bolt up, but if we are talking genuinely soft ground, he has that to prove at a shortish price. And I'm going to do just a small win bet because there's only 7 on gold medal, who I was pretty taken with in a good time at Wolves. And then just looking at the pedigree, soft ground should be fine. Dan was related to a soft ground performer, a lot of Olympic glories, handle cut. So Richard Hughes been going along nicely back end of the season or since the halfway point in the season with his juveniles, and gold medal, I thought, did pretty well to win against experienced horses, so it would be a small win bet on him. The 420, a nice easy one to finish with. Deasy, 100% coming to you first of all, just so you know. Boundless Power heads the betting at 7.0 with Racel for the horse watchers. 7.5 for Illusionist, 8.0 Dakota Gold, Zargan 8.5, 10.0 Sunday Sovereign, Indian Sounds 11.0. And then we do get into the bigger prices. Right, go on, Dees. Who do you like and why?
I like Dakota Gold, top weight. Just been unlucky, I think, a few times this, like, and he saw. I think there's a lot in his favour now on this good form at Doncaster. It's a soft ground. I know he's carrying top weight, but that doesn't really bother me in 5 furlong handicaps. He's earned it. And last time, I mean, he finishing 2 lengths off Micheál and 3 lengths off Tis Marvelous is probably the best bit of form that any horse in this race can throw up for the whole year. So I think that there's a lot in his favour just to finish off the year with a win. And drawn there next to Adele's horse there as well. So you might give Paul a nice toe into the race if that's going to be your angle, Adele.
Go on, Adele.
It's not very often I tip Paul, is it really?
I mean, it's dangerous, right? It's got to be really dangerous to tip Paul.
I know. I'm like, I'm either going to love him or I'm going to hate him on Saturday, aren't I? I'm not quite sure which one it's going to be. Paul knows this horse well, and when he rode him at Musselburgh, he told them to give him a wind operation because he's just carrying his head a little bit too high, and they did that. And he's run okay. He's been running in group races. He's been running in condition races. The last time he ran in Handicap Company, he was second to Micheál. He comes good at this time of year. He comes good in the autumn, and he won't mind the ground. He's won off 103. I think it was this time last year he won at Musselburgh. Well, probably beginning of October he won at Musselburgh off 103, and what is he now, on 100, is he? He should be, he's capable of winning this race. Hopefully the wind operation is kind of just starting to work its way in now, and he's starting to feel a little bit better in himself. And Paul knows him well, so hopefully, and he's a big price, he's a massive price. I got a good look at him down at Newbury. I think that was his first run after his wind operation. He still looks good, and he still looks good in his coat. So fingers crossed, he's not kind of gone in himself yet, and he'll relish the ground on Saturday. That'll be a big plus for him. Like soft ground, so a big price, and hopefully it'll be a win for Paul.
15.0 and lots of cheersing and happy times in the Mulrennan household after that. I am going to stick. Deasy, did you have a question?
I do. This is just for someone who I don't know nothing about horses. When you say he's holding his head too high and he told him to give him the wind up, is he holding his head too high because he's not getting the air in, or how will the wind up help him?
Yeah, well, sometimes they kind of like they get. It's a hard one to explain really, because he does carry his head quite high anyway, Makana. And sometimes it's kind of like, because they feel like the air's not going in properly, they kind of half get a little bit of a panic on, and they kind of, when a horse isn't enjoying themselves, because they kind of half put their head up a little bit. Depends what he's had done really. A lot of horses, as they get older, they get a little bit fatty in the wind, and they kind of need it burning off, and it just kind of helps the airways a little bit. He's kind of like, he's one of those horses that you have to ride with quite a lot of confidence. You kind of have to keep him on the bridle as long as you can. You have to keep them revs up, keep him kind of interested. I always say to Paul, like, to try and keep your hands up and keep him on that bridle for as long as possible as you can, until they're kind of like, you really feel like you're going to have to go for him. But yeah, he's obviously just taken a couple of runs just to realise that he can kind of like drop his head a little bit and still breathe at the same time.
Okay, thank you. Best of luck. That'll be another story on the extension if he wins.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I need a couple more windows. The patio needs finishing off. I've still got one more bathroom to do, so that would be a big plus now if it could win that on Saturday.
I'm going to stick up Russell. I know the connections think a lot of him, and he's 1-3 on the bounce. £7 was harsh enough, I thought, last time at Nottingham, but he was good value for it. I think they're nowhere near the bottom of him. I like his draw, just to sit in the middle and probably track a little bit of pace, and the ground should be spot on for him as well. It was good to soft last time, but I don't think soft ground's going to be a problem for him. I think he could still be well ahead of the handicapper. I was going to put
Dixon's back in him, Tom.
I would imagine so. I would imagine they will be. So. All my own work. I was going to put up one of John Quinn's horses, but he's gone with he doesn't go with Lord Ridderford. He's gone with El Astronaute, and so I prefer the other one. But Nats, you want a little poke on El Astronaute?
Yeah, small. Look, this more for me is like probably Hart over Head, but they're just such a cracking team. Jason Hart and John Quinn. Look, he's an 8-year-old. Let's be realistic, but he's been good at Doncaster. I found enough form on good to soft, and soft wasn't very good at Musselburgh last time, so I could really be barking up the wrong tree. It wouldn't be a win on El Astronaute for me. It would just be to hit the frame at a big price, because I was sort of scrapping around a little bit to really have a strong opinion in this race. I also looked at Illusionist for Grant Tuer here, winning on soft at York last time. Thought that was quite pleasing. But yeah, this wasn't my strongest race, if I'm completely honest with you. But Illusionist, I think, what price is Illusionist? I thought that was an okay bet.
Yes, 7.5.
Yeah, okay. No, I will have a nibble. And El Astronaute, yeah, a little bit with the heart there. But at those prices, to hit the frame at Doncaster, you just never know.
Yeah, well, so I'm trying to work out your Gordon Elliott treble. So sorry, I'm still trying to work it out because I haven't got the first price in front of me. But there you go, El Astronaute at a big price. Right, best bets. So just a one-liner, best bet. DC, who is your best bet?
Sky Pirate.
Adele, who is your best bet?
I'm going to go Paul with Makana for a win and place bet on Saturday.
For the new bathroom. And your best bet, Nat?
Uncle Henry, definite plan, tool bag for the Gordon Elliott treble on a Saturday, National Hunt Racing at Cheltenham. Boop, boop.
Brilliant.
Which I've got coming in at over a 1,400 to 1 treble. So, you know, if you nail that on the second pod,
might be another story on your house as well, Natalie.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Listen, there's something going on with my house. Sorry about the gremlins before. The whole thing, everything just crashed. It seems to happen a lot in this house. It's very strange. But no, last Saturday was really frustrating betting wise. I had 3 seconds and 1 win. So that's why I'm going big this Saturday. And if it pays off, it'll pay for Christmas. So.
And it is big as well. And I'm going Bayside Boy. It's one of the teams teamed at Doncaster. So there you go. Win and place Bayside Boy. Good stuff. We're done. Don't forget to go to insights.matchbook.com for all the bets there across all the podcasts. But if you want to go back through who we are putting up, head there. And very best of luck between Cheltenham and Doncaster this weekend. Thank you very much indeed, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.